Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about the one file that can literally make or break your relationship with your AI coding assistant, CLAUDE.md. And I know, it sounds simple, but getting this right is the difference between having a powerful partner and, well, a major source of frustration.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You spend all this time writing out these super detailed instructions, you lay out the tech stack, the file structure, all the rules, and then the AI just goes off and does something completely different. It is maddening, but it turns out there's a very specific, kind of hidden reason this happens.
So what even is this Claude.md file? Well, think of it as your AI's long-term memory for your project. You see, large language models are stateless, which is just a fancy way of saying they have the memory of a goldfish. They forget everything as soon as the conversation is over. This file is the one and only thing that gets fed to it every single time, so it's your best shot at getting the AI up to speed.
Now, a good onboarding file, it really just needs to answer three basic questions. First, the what. What's the tech stack? What's the project structure? You got to give it a map. Second, the why. What's the point of this project? What do all the different pieces do? And finally, the how. How do you build it? How do you run tests? How does it check its own work? If you can nail these three, you're in a great spot. But there's a catch.
And this is where we get to the core of the mystery. Because you can write the most beautiful file covering the what, why, and how, and the AI might still ignore it. And the reason for this is a little hidden instruction, a system reminder that's working against you behind the scenes.
And here it is. This little thing gets injected right alongside your carefully crafted file. And look what it says. It's basically telling the AI, hey, all that stuff the user wrote, yeah, you should probably just ignore it unless it feels super relevant to the exact thing you're doing right now. So if you pack your file with tons of details, you're actually training the AI to disregard it.
So how do we fix this? Well, the solution is beautifully counterintuitive. It's not about adding more detail or more commands. It's about doing the exact opposite.
This is it. This is the single most important rule you need to remember. Less is more. I know it feels wrong to remove information. You want to be helpful, but the data is crystal clear. Stuffing your file with every possible instruction is one of the worst things you can do. Let's look at why.
So let's get into the data. What's absolutely wild is that research shows even the most powerful, cutting-edge AI models have a hard limit. They can only reliably follow about 150 to 200 different instructions at once. Think of it like a surprisingly short attention span. And here is the real kicker. Before your CLA.md file is even looked at, the AI has already been given about 50 instructions from its own system prompt. That means almost a third of its total brain power for following rules is used up before you've even said a word. The space you have to work with is way smaller than you think.
And this chart just illustrates the point perfectly. Look what happens when you overload it. For smaller models, performance doesn't just dip, it falls off a cliff. For the bigger models, it's a more gradual slide downhill, but it's still a clear drop. More instructions literally makes the AI less effective.
So let's just recap the damage. You overload the prompt, and three really bad things start to happen. First, it gets what's called lost in the middle. It only pays attention to the very first and very last things you told it. Second, it doesn't just ignore the new stuff. Its ability to follow any instruction gets worse. And third, its overall performance just tanks.
Okay, so we get it. We need to be concise. But I can hear you asking, what about my super complex project that needs a lot of context? That's a fair question. And for that, we need to get a little more clever. We can use a technique called progressive disclosure.
The core idea here is actually really simple. Instead of dumping the entire encyclopedia on the AI all at once, you just give it a library card and a map. You tell it where to find more detailed info, but only when it actually needs it. This keeps your main file lean, clean, and always relevant.
So here's what that might look like in practice. You could create a little folder, maybe call it agent_docs, and inside you break out your instructions into separate files. Then in your main Claude.md, you just point the AI to them. Hey, if you need to run tests, go read runningtest.md. It's a super clean, really efficient way to handle complexity.
And now for a quick public service announcement. Please, do not use your AI as a code formatter. Just don't. A linter is instant, it's free, and it's 100% reliable every single time. An LLM is slow, it costs you money, and it's inconsistent. Trying to enforce style rules in your Claude.md is just a waste of its very limited attention. Use the right tool for the job.
So let's bring this all home.
I know it seems like we're obsessing over one little file in your project, but its impact is absolutely massive.
This quote from the source material just says it all. Think about it. A single bad line of code is one bug, but a single bad instruction in your Claude.md can poison every single interaction you have with the AI. Getting this one file right is one of the highest leverage things you can possibly do.
So once you realize that the secret isn't about controlling the AI with overwhelming detail, but about empowering it with focused clarity, well, it just changes everything. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder. Now that you know the secret, what's the one single most important thing you can tell your AI assistant to truly set it up